Hiram muna tayo ng video kay Doc Chona. So si Doc Chona ay isang associate professor sa De La Salle University at meron siyang YouTube channel, ang tawag ay She and Siya, kung saan nag-upload siya ng mga videos all about science. Kaya kung hindi pa kayo nakasubscribe sa kanya, mag-subscribe na kayo. Dito sa video ay nag-discuss siya ng earthquakes at gusto ko lang dagdagan yung discussion from a geologist perspective. Nagpaalam na ako dito kay Doc Chona, kaya panoorin na natin ang video.
Let's talk about earthquakes. Earthquakes are natural phenomena that occur when energy is released from within the Earth's crust, causing shaking or vibrations of the ground. These vibrations can vary in intensity and can cause damage to any structures on the surface of the planet. The primary cause of earthquakes is the movement of tectonic plates, which are massive slabs of rock that make up the Earth's surface. Tectonic plates move due to the heat.
Basically, ang mga earthquakes ay nangyayari along plate tectonic boundaries. So, meron tayong convergent, divergent, and transform fault boundaries. So, lahat ng types ng plate tectonic boundaries na to ay kaya nilang mag-generate ng earthquake. Take note, pwede ka rin magkaroon ng earthquake inland. Sa Pilipinas, ang nag-generate ng mga earthquakes ay mostly yung mga trenches, which are convergent plate boundaries. So sa west side natin, meron tayong Manila Trench, Negros Sulu Trench, at yung Cotabato Trench. Tapos sa eastern side, meron tayong East Luzon Trough at Philippine Trench. And then madami din tayong mga active faults na nagge-generate ng mga malalakas din na earthquakes tulad ng Philippine Fault. Ang ibig sabihin pala ng active ay nagkaroon ng earthquake within the past 10,000 years. So, yung Philippine Fault ay binabaybay niya yung buong Pilipinas, no? From north pababa sa Mindanao. So, around 1,200 kilometers yung length niyan. Yung notable na earthquake from the Philippine Fault ay yung 1990 na Luzon earthquake. Madami pa tayong active faults. Check nyo na lang yung map ng PHIVOX.
Generated by the core and the mantle of the planet, causing them to shift and smash into each other. When two plates collide, one may slide under the other, creating a subduction zone. And so, subduction zones are areas where two tectonic plates meet, where one can slide beneath the other and sink into the mantle.
Ito yung nabanggit ko kanina na convergent plate boundary, no? Tapos, madami nga tayong mga trenches na nakapalibot sa Pilipinas. Yung subduction zones, sila yung mga lugar kung saan kaya nilang mag-generate ng mga malalaking earthquake na kayang mag-generate ng mga tsunami. So example niyan ay yung 2011 Great East Japan earthquake na nag-generate ng tsunami at nagresulta din sa Fukushima nuclear disaster. Nangyari yon dahil sa movement ng Japan Trench. Tapos yung nangyari doon ay sobrang laki ng movement ng fault kaya nag-generate siya ng malaking tsunami. At may mga pag-aaral na sinasabi nila more than 50 meters yung ginalaw ng fault. So imagine, ito yung subduction zone, no? Ito yung subducting na oceanic plate. Ito yung continental plate sa taas. Nangyari yung earthquake, pumitik yung fault, tapos nabago yung position niya ngayon more than 50 meters doon sa position niya before. So, ganun siya kalaki. Sa Pilipinas, ang pinaka-devastating na tsunami ay nangyari noong 1976. So, tinatawag natin ito na 1976 Moro Gulf Tsunami. More than 5,000 ang reported na casualties kasi nangyari siya midnight at tulog yung mga tao. Geologically speaking, significant din yung event na yon kasi yun ang nagbigay ng first evidence na meron tayong subduction zone dun sa may area na yon.
Process can lead to the formation of volcanic arcs and the creation of deep ocean trenches. The movement of plates at these zones can cause a lot of stress to build up, and this can be released in the form of earthquakes. Earthquakes can also.
So as mentioned earlier, yung earthquakes ay nagre-release ka ng energy dun na nakastore dun sa fault. So ang nangyayari dyan, during the earthquake, magre-release siya ng energy, tapos over time, mag-accumulate naman siya ng energy ulit. Yung fault ay mag-iipon ulit ng lakas hanggang sa maabot niya yung breaking point, gagalaw naman siya ulit. Paulit-ulit siya ng process.
To be caused by volcanic activity. One way is when magma moves beneath the Earth's surface, causing rocks to shift and crack, which can then lead to an earthquake. These earthquakes can be a warning sign of an impending volcanic eruption and can provide valuable information for monitoring and predicting volcanic activity. But did you know that not all
Dito sa Pilipinas kapag nag-alboroto yung mga bulkan natin, palagi mo yang makikita sa mga PHIVOLCS bulletin yung number of volcanic earthquakes. Isa din ito sa criteria na ginagamit nila para sa pag-issue ng mga alert levels.
earthquakes are natural,
Mm.
some small ones can actually be caused by human activity. Human
Induced
activities can
seismicity.
cause
Ayan.
earthquakes through a process known as induced seismicity. This occurs when human activities such as mining or drilling or even the creation of large reservoirs create changes in subsurface pressures or stress fields, which can then lead to earthquakes. Human-induced earthquakes can vary in
Actually, hindi lang yung mga explosions na ganito yung pwede mag-generate ng induced seismicity. Pwede rin yung concert, lalo na kapag madaming tao tulad nung Eras Tour.
size and intensity, from small tremors that are barely perceptible to larger earthquakes that can cause damage to buildings and infrastructure. Earthquakes can also be differentiated based on their origin below the Earth's surface. We can have shallow earthquakes that occur at a depth of less than 70 kilometers below the Earth's surface. These are usually associated with the movement of tectonic plates at or very near the Earth's surface, and these can be very scary because they cause a lot of damage. There are also intermediate earthquakes that occur at a depth between 70 and 300 kilometers below the Earth's surface. They are typically associated with the subduction of oceanic plates with continental plates, and they can cause moderate to strong shaking. And then there are deep earthquakes with origins at a depth greater than 300 kilometers below the Earth's surface. These are usually associated with the movement of tectonic plates in existing subduction zones.
Hindi ko nabanggit kanina, yung faults ay meron silang tatlong types, yung normal fault, reverse fault, and strike slip fault. Matatawag natin siya na normal fault kapag yung hanging wall ay bumaba, tapos reverse fault naman kapag ang hanging wall ay umakyat. Yung strike slip fault, nagsaslide lang yung dalawang bato mo side to side. Tapos yung nabanggit ni Doc Chona na shallow and intermediate earthquakes, dito usually yung mga destructive na earthquakes. Yung deep earthquakes, hindi siya destructive kasi nga malalim siya. So kapag nagkaroon ng shaking doon, hindi mo ramdam doon sa taas ng lupa. Pero recently ko lang nalaman kung bakit siya interesting para sa mga seismologists. Yung idea kasi, ang earthquakes ay nangyayari sila kapag gumalaw yung fault. Since ang deep earthquakes nangyayari sila more than 300 kilometers sa ilalim ng lupa, dahil malalim siya, sobrang kapal nung bato na nakapatong dun sa fault. So dahil sobrang kapal niya, ang bigat niya, ang nangyayari, iniipit niya dapat ngayon yung fault para hindi gumalaw yung fault. And therefore, dapat walang earthquake sa ganong depth. Pero bakit ka nagkakaroon ng earthquakes sa lalim na yon? Isa sa mga explanation na ng mga seismologist, baka dahil sa pore fluid pressure. So anong ibig sabihin nun? May mga fluids na natatrap sa mga bato at habang nagsasubduct ay yung tubig na yon ay nadadala rin dun sa malalim na part na yon. Imagine, di ba yung fault, gumagalaw yan. Naturally, meron kang friction dun sa pagitan ng dalawang bato na yon. Imagine, meron kang fluid, ang nangyayari, bumababa yung friction at napapadali yung paggalaw ng fault kaya ka nagkakaroon ng earthquake. So yung pore fluid pressure, hindi lang siya important dun sa deep earthquakes, important din siya pagdating sa mga shallow and intermediate earthquakes. Yung example dyan, yung 2011 Great East Japan Earthquake, ang isa sa mga tinuturo nila na dahilan bakit malaki yung movement ng fault, more than 50 meters, ay dahil nga mataas yung pore fluid pressure dun sa part ng fault na yon.
And they usually cause less intense shaking because of the depth at which they occur. However, they can still cause damage and can actually be felt over a wider area. When earthquakes happen, they are often described using their magnitude and intensity. But how do we measure these characteristics? Earthquakes are measured using instruments called seismometers, which record the vibrations or seismic waves produced by the earthquake. The data recorded by seismometers is used to determine its magnitude, which is the amount of energy released whenever an earthquake happens. There are several scales used to measure the magnitude of an earthquake, which includes the Richter scale. This scale is based on the amplitude of the largest seismic wave recorded by a seismometer and is the most well-known scale for measuring earthquake magnitude. The moment magnitude scale. This scale takes into account the amount of energy released by the earthquake and is considered a more accurate measure of earthquake magnitude for larger earthquakes.
Ang Richter magnitude scale, siguro ito yung familiar tayo kasi ito yung madalas nating nakikita sa mga libro. Sa scale na to, ang pag-measure ng magnitude ay naka-based siya dun sa amplitude nung wave. Pero over time, na-discover ng mga seismologists na hindi pala siya accurate kapag malaki na yung earthquake. Kaya na-develop itong moment magnitude scale. Sa scale na to, mas madaming factors yung ginagamit para ma-calculate yung magnitude. Kasama na dun yung rigidity ng bato, yung displacement or kung gaano kalaki yung paggalaw ng fault at yung area ng fault na gumalaw. Ginagamit siya usually kapag ang magnitude ay greater than 4. Kapag less than 4, okay lang gamitin yung Richter magnitude scale.
Modified Mercalli Intensity Scale. This scale measures the intensity of shaking and damage caused by an earthquake at a specific location and is used to determine the earthquake's effects on the surrounding area.
Dito sa atin sa Pilipinas, hindi natin yan ginagamit. Ang ginagamit natin ay yung PHIVOX Earthquake Intensity Scale dahil calibrated ito sa 1990 Luzon Earthquake at 1994 Mindoro Earthquake. Yung Mercalli scale kasi ito lang yung madalas na nakikita natin sa mga libro.
Seismologists, or scientists who study earthquakes, also use the data from seismometers to determine the epicenter of the earthquake, which is the point on the Earth's surface that is directly above the origin of the earthquake. Earthquakes are natural features of our planet, which means they cannot be avoided. But
Ayan,
this
so hanggang dito lang muna siguro ako. Overall, maganda naman yung discussion ni Doc Chona. At kung nag-enjoy kayo sa video na to, huwag kalimutan mag-like, share, and subscribe. Paalam.